Welcome back to another episode of Repressed Humor Issues. After much delay, we are back. We had tried to record an episode with none other than my own brother.
Somebody that was far less prepared than even Ryan is for these we tried to record with. Ryan was the second least prepared person in a podcast. Imagine that.
It was amazing. Finally, I don't own the title. But yeah, tried to record. It did not pick up the third person due to the medium that the third person was using. So note to self, learning lesson. But here we are. And
so what did we learn? Tell the audience what we learned.
Don't have my brother on the podcast.
Okay, well, that's number one. I was thinking more on the lines of don't try for recording a podcast on a cell phone, but you went all the way to banning your brother forever. So
I didn't ban him forever, but he's on probation for sure. He's on the bench. He's not getting any minutes this week, that's for sure.
So we also have to say congratulations to the starting class of Walmart greeters this week. Good luck on your new endeavors.
I'm going to get so much shit for that. Yeah.
Let's move on then. Let's move on.
No, congrats. I'll just leave it at that. Congrats. But I wanted to take a personal moment to, if I could. I know this is typically a lighter-hearted podcast, if you will.
I'm going to mute myself so I don't snicker my way through this.
Oh, you're such a whore.
Yes, dancing whore.
Oh, yeah, I am the coughing pancreas dancing whore today. So it's not a unknown secret in my life, but it was for this podcast. But just want to put it out into the ether so I can be my true self everywhere I am. But I'm gay. I'm married to a man. That's about it.
Yeah, so Ryan coming out here has been a big deal for us because we weren't explicitly hiding it, but we weren't talking about it. And we want to be authentic here. And I think that's the statement that I think is most important in this, is you felt you were hiding something that you no longer wanted to hide.
I did. We talked about it earlier this week, and I just kind of had a moment of real levity with myself and shared it with you. That it's like, I just want to address it. It's not like something I want to center the show around at all. So it's not going to be like drag shows and feather boas or anything like that, though I wear one on occasion. But it's just being authentic. I think that's the best way to say it. It's being your true self.
So, well, shall we talk about how I found out you were gay? Remember the dinner in Sweden?
Oh, God, that was...
I've alluded to this
before. Man, that was like our one first face-to-face, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
And you asked, I forget, did you ask me to marry you or did you say you love me? You said one of the two of those.
I think it was married.
Yeah.
It was married.
Yeah. Realize, I'm not coming out of the closet. I'm not firmly planted in it. Okay, but I have an actual biological female wife. I'm not coming out today. I have nothing to come out for. But that doesn't mean I can't give Ryan shit for this, because what good would this podcast be if we didn't do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's still fair game. Like, go crazy. But no, that's a funny story, because what we were started off by talking about cars, right?
Yes. And you were talking about your Tesla and how you were going to get a Rivian at that point.
Yes, that's exactly right. Wow, good memory.
Yeah, and by the end of the meal, he was proposing marriage to me. And that's the start of our friendship.
And I think it should be noted that the other people in attendance were, what, an SVP, a C-suite, and one other VP? Like,
yes. It was an interesting crowd to come out to that way.
Yeah, it's just like, some steakhouse that I don't think is actually in business anymore. So...
I just remember it was that it was a steakhouse. It was on that corner over in that square where we ate at the Italian place a couple weeks later.
Yes, yeah, exactly
Yes.
right.
Uh,
I'm getting gearing up to go back over soon, so I'll let you know it's still alive and well there.
so, but anyways, Ryan's gay, so we can move on now.
That's
You
a fun.
realize this has been the butt of several jokes because again in the office, one of the things that Oscar talks about is how he has great abs, but he doesn't have gay abs. So we've made jokes about that. It's been an ongoing thing, and I'm really happy that you felt comfortable doing this now.
Yeah.
Um, Not just because I finally get to make fun of everything I can add to that introduction that we started on the
Oh,
first
jeez.
episode,
Yeah, you held back actually, probably.
but the smile on your face makes it worthwhile.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. It does feel better. It feels like mentally freeing, and it's like it's weird because it takes me back to when I was still straight. I'm using quotation fingers, and I knew I was not. So it was just like I knew what that feeling was, and I was feeling it again with this. It's like I'm holding myself back. What the hell am I doing? It's like I'm
Yes.
not doing that any in my personal life. So just go crazy. Be real.
So speaking of reinventing yourself,
Ha! That was
what's our topic today, Ryan?
yes.
Not
This
a,
is
I
talking.
snuck that in really well, didn't I?
That was really good. That was really good. So we're talking about inventors that were killed by their own invention.
Yes, and believe it or not, this is not a list of one person. There's actually a full list of how many people have actually had this problem.
Yes,
Um,
it's it,
so,
it's
and
not.
not
You're
only
right.
that,
It's not
there,
a short list. It's probably not even an exhaustive list. To be fair,
yeah,
um,
but it is categorized as well. That's the interesting part is there's enough people that have been killed by their own inventions that there's actually categories in this. There's a taxonomy of people that have killed themselves this way.
yeah. I mean, I love just like what automotive, aviation, chemistry. I mean, it goes all over the place. Maritime, medical, rocketry, which is I think the best title for a category.
Yes.
Um, but I don't really know where we want to start. We didn't really nail that down because there is truly so many, and I hate saying there's so many good ones about people that died, but there's so many good ones.
So I think the good place to start is one that everybody's heard the name, but there's a couple of facts I found out about this that are pretty interesting. Marie Curie, the
Mm.
woman that found radiation, was killed by the tests in radioactivity that she inflicted in herself. She discovered radioactivity in polonium back in the 1930s. And my favorite part about this is to this day, her casket is lined with lead because of how radioactive she is. They actually had to lead line her casket. And it's not just like a small little painting on of lead. There's a lead sheet inside of her casket to make sure she doesn't irradiate anybody.
That's amazing. I had no
Yes.
idea.
Yeah. I don't even know why I was looking it up, or I think my wife told me about it.
But I mean, that's impressive. Like, uh, she had to be glowing at some
Yeah.
point, right?
Well, if you think about it, the glowing the stripes on watches, the glowing part that shows you where all the tick marks are, um, people had to paint that on back in the olden days. It wasn't some sort of iridescence that was just random. They literally had radioactive paint that they would paint onto the little nubs on the inside underneath the bezel. And
Are
those people had high rates of cancer.
are you teeing me up for Dr. Saban? Huh?
You could
Huh?
go for Dr. Saban if you want to go for Dr. Saban.
Well, I think, and I'm not going to butcher his full name. It's Dr. Saban Arnold von Schocke, we'll call it. I don't know. Um, was the inventor of the luminescent paint that Dan's actually talking about. that they used on these clocks based on radioactive radium. Um, and he later died of radium poisoning. So the medium that helped him invent the paint, he actually ended up killing himself by being poisoned by it.
But he also killed many other people by having them be the ones that painted that on. So not only did he kill himself, he killed a whole bunch of other people too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't read this part. He was also the founder of the United States Radium Corporation. So, yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
well, my favorite one, I realize I'm going to my favorite right away, is Franz Reichel of France, who decided that his flying garb was, he created wings that he put on his back with wooden cloth. He decided that it was so good he was going to test it. The police did not want to let him test it because his plan was to jump off the first level of the Eiffel Tower, which is high enough up that you'll smack and die.
yeah.
He decided, okay, I'll tell him I'm going to put a dummy in there. Got all his stuff up there, brought the dummy up there with him, and then decided, nah, I'm just going to go for it, strapped everything on, and then just plummeted headfirst into the concrete below.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So there's a bunch of stuff about flying and that sort of stuff in here. Apparently, the easiest way to kill yourself is to invent something that flies because gravity is not just a good idea.
Oh, Isaac Newton did no one any favors.
I mean, he just got hit on the head with an apple. He didn't go flying into the ground in a flying machine that really, by today's standards, never should have been allowed to in any way see the ground. And just so everybody's aware, Ryan is telling me that my gain is off. I'm fairly far back, but my thing seems to be auto adjusting. So I'm sorry for any quality issues we're having today. We will get these fixed before next time.
But this is not my favorite, but I find this one very fascinating. So William Bullock, he invented the web rotary printing press. And several years after the invention, his foot was crushed during an installation of a new machine in Philadelphia. Now, the crushed foot developed gangrene, and Bullock died during the amputation, so it can be directly correlated to his own invention killing him.
Well, I like the guy that decided to invent his own homemade parachute better. Okay, his name was Robert Talking. Interesting name, but
Yeah.
he decided that what he was going to do is he's going to make the first homemade parachute. And in doing so, what he ended up doing was jumping out of a plane and trying to figure out how to survive when he didn't calculate in the amount of weight that the parachute and the packing included. And in doing so, actually weighed more than he expected and plummeted to the ground fast enough to kill himself.
Oh my God. Oh, that's
Yeah, can you imagine that? If I'm guessing that this is in the 17 or 1800s. He's not really high enough where he's in a plane. At that point, he's still in a balloon.
Yeah.
But those balloons still got 10,000 feet above the ground. But you'd still have 8 or 9 seconds of realizing, I fucked up until you hit the ground.
Yeah, there's enough time to be like, well, this isn't going to end well.
Yeah.
Isn't there stories out there of people where a chute hasn't opened, but they've lived, like broken legs and arms, but they've lived?
Yeah, I've heard some of those stories. There was one guy that he just managed to hit the snow on a mountain just right, that it cushioned his fall and he slid down and walked away completely unharmed.
Could you imagine?
The luck to be able to do that. Now, there's other stories that turned out to be fake, where a World War II paratrooper said he dropped over top of a building that had a bomb dropped on it just before he got there. And the pressure wave from the explosion actually lifted him back up and then dropped him down. And they proved Well, Mythbusters did a full thing on it because he said that he survived without his parachute working properly. But there's literally no way that could have happened because the shrapnel that would have went up from the size of the explosive would have just obliterated him instantly.
I miss Mythbusters.
Oh, want the best myth of all
From the show?
from the show?
What?
Jamie and Adam are friends. That is a myth. They did not like each other.
Really?
Yes, they all throughout the show, they tolerated each other, but they never liked each other. They never hung out outside of filming. They never did things together. They did the show together, and that was it. Do you know what other famous couple has the exact same issue?
Oh, is this black and white?
Black and white.
Well, probably not then. The film group, God damn it. Failing my film majorness.
I don't know, but it's Penn and Teller. Apparently, they don't talk to each other. They don't like each other outside of the shows that they've created. They do not hang out.
So much together, though.
But they don't hang out together. They don't do anything outside of their shows. They're very successful when they're together. They know they couldn't be that successful if they weren't together, but they're not going to try to be more successful. No, sorry, Bob. They're not going to try to hang out outside.
Yeah, to be better friends.
Yeah.
Wow. I had no idea. Oh, gosh. I mean, I've grown up watching them. I mean, I can't remember what show they were on, and Teller obviously just never talked, but
I didn't even know for sure what Teller's voice sounded like until he was on The Big Bang Theory. He was Amy's dad in that show.
Oh, I didn't watch it that closely, so I probably missed that episode.
Yeah, they only did one real magic thing with him, and he screwed it up, and he had blood pouring from his hand. It was
Jesus.
It was interesting. It went with the typical gore thing. But what's really funny is they used to do the fastest bullet trick, the fastest bullet in the West or whatever they call it, which is basically, they pretend to shoot each other, and then all of a sudden they have the bullet that's signed by the other person in their mouth.
Yeah.
And they said on a regular basis, somebody in the audience would hold up a gun and tell them to try to do it with their gun and had to say, what was a trick, and show them how they did it. Because people would literally come with guns figuring that they could attempt to shoot them.
Come on, Texas. So this is the next one. It's short, but it will open up a can of worms. Because I think that we know how a lot of the maritime deaths happened. So John Day was an English carpenter and wheelwright who died during a test of his experimental diving chamber. How many people tested suits, chambers, different vessels that all succumb to pressure?
Yeah. And a diving bell is interesting because it's the only way of diving that you're not actually touching something, or it doesn't encompass a single person necessarily. It's basically, it's like it sounds. It's a bell shaped, but everything that you're doing to survive in it is based off of the pressure equalization of the water not coming up from the bottom because the air is holding it down. How many people had to die when their air pump ran out of gas, or the person hand pumping it stopped pumping because they decided they wanted to have a cigarette, and the pressure that built up because of the lack of downward pressure of the air caused the bell to fill up with water and squished them like the Ocean Gate people.
I knew I was waiting for that. But you and I got on a little bit of a tangent about this earlier this week. With that, I found to be very fascinating personally was if you have the circular device, vessel that
the sphere.
Yeah, the pressure can't exact itself on rounded edges.
Yes. And that's how, when you look at deep sea diving products, a lot of times they're built around a sphere because there is no way for the pressure to aim itself at a single surface on a sphere. The only reason that you see those deeper ROVs and that sort of stuff have long tubes to them is because the minute that you make it non-spherical by adding a motor or something that like that to it, um, it now has an edge for the pressure to be able to push on that can cause it to fail. The only way that a perfect
Oh,
sphere works is if you have no edges on it that are not perfectly spherical.
hmm.
Now,
Trying to.
we also talked about this. This is the interesting part. How do you put propulsion on a sphere without attaching something to it that's going to cause the problem that I just talked about, a pressure point?
Well,
And
we
we
talked about
thought,
magnets.
yeah, I thought about having magnets that went to some sort of Wi-Fi on some sort of apparatus that doesn't actually touch the
Kind of
the
like the
sphere
maglev
itself.
systems, like the
Yeah,
maglev trains. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, and what it would allow you to do is you'd have commands that could go to the propulsion unit, but you're still in that perfectly safe sphere. Well, until either the batteries run out or something tries to reboot, and all of a sudden your propulsion system goes floating to the bottom of the ocean, and you're stuck there in a perfectly good sphere, but no way to get back to the
Oh
surface.
my God. Talk about the longest way to die.
Yeah. Well,
You're going to suffocate or starve or both.
yeah, that's not the longest way to die. Do you want to talk about the monks in Southeast Asia that literally, when they realize they're towards the end of their life, go up into the hills where there's a specific windy cavern and sit there, eat the minimalist amount that they possibly can, and slowly get mummified by the wind?
Oh my God.
And it can take 6 to 8 months.
And they're just sedentary all the time, or can they
Yep.
move around?
Nope. They sit in the one spot. They can feed themselves, but the rest of the time they're just meditating.
No thanks.
Well, nobody said you were going to be allowed to be the monk.
Well, I mean, there's a chance I could be a monk still.
How could you be a monk?
I mean, just got to march up some stairs and shave my head and like
You can't even dedicate yourself to a bit. How can you dedicate yourself to a lifestyle like that?
I can make tea. I'm really good at making tea. I think they drink a lot of tea.
So they realize this is what generally happens with our conversations is we just go rambling off in different directions. If you haven't figured that out from previous episodes.
Yeah, but I love that because I mean we've unlocked some kind of cool ideas on the way.
Yeah, because if you remember, the whole idea of this got me to talking about how the edge of the universe could be some sort of tension membrane that, based off of the tension at the moment, makes different
Oh,
parts of the universe expand at different rates and forces pressure back that makes other places slow, based
yeah.
off of the Hubble constant not being measurable, based off of what the James Webb telescope has found, and how there's certain galaxies that, based off of their size and their distance away from us, would have had to exist before the Big Bang Theory to
This
be
is
the
the red
size they are
shift.
now. Yeah, the redshift. Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about all sorts of stuff that
Yeah,
you
because
guys
we
don't
we
even get
talked
to hear
about
about.
we talked about black holes, but
Yes. Yes, about how no data can escape a black hole. Too bad Stephen Hawking's didn't die in a black hole incident, because that would have been prophetic. That would have been the ultimate, my invention killed me.
do you think that was his dream?
Was to die in a black hole?
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
think his dream was to get up out of that fucking wheelchair.
Oh,
Oh, yes, I went there.
oh, oh. Who's the podcast guy that imitates him? He like
I don't know. I've heard, of all people, Howard Wolowitz does in Big Bang Theory a couple imitations of him, where
oh
he's
man.
basically just talking like this.
Oh, Oh,
Yes.
it's so bad. I
Well,
mean,
they had Stephen Hawking's on the show multiple times, and they play him off as some gigantic asshole. So
oh my God. Oh, I wish I could fucking remember. It's like Bad Friends podcast or something like that. Bobby, he was from Mad TV, and then some redheaded guy that I can't remember, but he was talking about Stephen Hawking wanting to go to Jeffrey Epstein's island, going like, I want to go, let me go.
yeah, yeah, they that can get pretty evil. So how about we get back to what we were supposed to be
Yeah.
talking about? Because I don't know how to rescue us from the we're making fun of Stephen Hawking's bit here.
Yeah, and I just brought in Jeffrey Epstein to the whole thing. So
Uh,
but I do believe it's your turn if for what that's worth, because I took us down the maritime route, which somehow got us to Epstein Island.
do we have to pour one out for our lost comrade Diddy at this point?
Oh, I literally just started following that shit. What the fuck is that?
Oh, I don't even want to get into that. There's too much to unpack on that one. We don't have enough time today.
Yeah,
We'll do
I
that.
know.
We'll do that in season 2 after we find out what island he's actually on.
Well, he was in Apalaca, Florida.
That's where he is now.
Yeah, he's there now.
Oh, last I heard, they thought he was in Antigua.
No, yeah, I guess he came to Apalaca.
Okay. Well, back on track here.
Sorry, another distraction.
A more recent inventor that was killed by his own invention. Some of you might remember Mike Hughes was killed when the parachute failed to deploy during the crash landing while piloting his homemade steam-powered rocket. Because there's nothing
Oh,
like a
this was not too
steam-powered
long
rocket.
ago,
This
right?
was in 2020, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I remember seeing something on TV about this.
And the funny thing is that technically the rocket worked. It was this parachute that failed. There was this backup plan to get out of it that failed and destroyed him. Like he was in pieces when he came down.
Oh my God, that's a terrible way to die.
Yeah, that's another one where I'm sure he had a lot of time to just go, oh, I fucked up.
I wonder how high he got.
Well, I bet you if I click on this link here, we can find out.
Yeah, I mean, I could
Uh,
probably do that too, but fingers are over here.
yeah, he was also a flat earther. Um,
Oh, was he trying to go up to prove that the Earth was flat?
I believe so.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
You should have just listened to our podcast number 13. So,
Could have saved him.
yeah. I know it's here somewhere.
Oh my God.
You could go on to the next one while I find this
I
one.
just read your fucking name. Big sweat man boobs sweating. Oh my God. I didn't read it until just now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
For those of you that don't remember, we can give ourselves titles on the software that we use. So we don't tell each other what we're going to be every time. We just magically show up with titles. And mine today is Big Sweat Man Boobs,
um,
as opposed to Coughing Pancreas.
dancing whore. Dance whore. Dance whore. It's singular.
Dance whore. It
Um,
does not say how high he got. Not
huh.
on the page that I'm on.
Okay, that's all right. I'll move on to Valerian Abakovsky, who constructed the Aero Wagon, which I want to look at, an experimental high-speed rail car fitted with an aircraft engine and propeller traction, intended to carry Soviet officials. And in 1921, it derailed at high speed, killing 6 of the 22 on board, including himself.
So again, somebody that not just killed himself, but killed other people with his invention at the exact same time.
Yeah. And I'm sure
Uh,
the remaining people that didn't die uh, probably didn't look so good.
Yeah.
Just gonna
Well,
go out on a limb.
it's probably not as bad as this next one. This guy back in 1985, his name is Karol Susek. He's a professional stuntman, and he decided that he was going to make himself a barrel that absorbed all shocks. And to prove that he could do this, he had them drop it on the roof of the Houston Astrodome. Now, this is a Darwin Award winner if I've ever heard it. Um,
Right
but
ahead.
apparently he was fatally injured when his barrel hit the rim of the water tank that was meant to cushion his fall. So basically, another guy that put the safety mechanism in place, and really it was the safety mechanism that killed him. But who thinks, oh, I have a barrel that can absorb shocks. Drop me on top of a domed stadium. I mean, have you ever had that thought, Ryan? You went to clown college. Did they teach that there?
Well, no, but in my clown elementary, we had the make your own parachute. I always thought about bouncing off the top of that, like the big dome parachute that everyone like rushes in and sits under, and it makes a big like mushroom head thing. That is terrible. Why the fuck
Yes,
did I just say that? Mushroom top.
just all coming out today.
Oh.
Cannot
And
contain you now.
um so this one is it's a curious one for me because I find this uh fallacy to be, well, it's not, I shouldn't say fallacy. I find this would be invention to be very curious, and I think they've made a lot of strides in recent years. But Michael Dockeray in 2009 died after a crash test that occurred while testing his flying taxi device. Now, how many times have we heard that the flying car will be a thing? And
Oh, it's ever since the Jetsons.
yeah, I mean, and it's like I'm seeing prototypes, I'm seeing things make strides towards it, but I don't think we're to Uber flying taxis anytime soon. So it's like I don't know, just stick on the ground, people. Can we just make airplanes a little faster? That'd be great.
So I'm going to hijack this a little bit because one of the links that you didn't notice on the page that we've been using was to Darwin Award winners.
What? Was
Yes.
this at the
And
top?
no, it's at the bottom, but I just love this because they have 5 examples that they list as notable people, including the guy. Now, this is somewhat urban legend, somewhat true. There's a guy that decided to put a jet assisted takeoff system on his car, which is basically when you look at like big C-51 Galaxy planes trying to take off, and all of a sudden there's those jets that start up off the side of the plane to help them gain speed, or they fire the other way to help them stop when they're overloaded. Those are called a JATO system, a jet assisted takeoff system. So some guy decided I'm going to attach this to my car. Now I'm pretty sure the ratio of weight differentiation between a C-51 Constellation and I'm guessing probably 1982 Buick LeSabre or something like that is going to be significant. He actually did die apparently, but the reason that they gave why he died was because he forgot to put an off switch on it. These things keep going until they burn all their fuel. So he hit a certain point and was trying to turn it off and couldn't, and then was launched up and died when his car hit the ground. That's another, you have several seconds to be able to think, yep, done fucked up.
Yeah,
Um,
I scrolled down and I did not click on the Darwin Awards, but I did click on unusual deaths.
yeah, well, can I
Which,
just give one more and then we'll do yours?
sure.
Okay, because this is my favorite. I'm going to read it out the way that it's written here because this is perfect.
Okay.
Gary Hoy, who fell from the 24th story of the Toronto Dominion Centre whilst attempting to demonstrate to a group of students that the windows were unbreakable.
What?
He flung himself at the windows on a 24-story building to prove the windows were unbreakable, and they broke. I mean,
Ah,
if
that's
there
Darwin at his finest right there.
does that count as irony? I just need to know, does that count as irony?
I think so. So the one I stumbled on just randomly was, this ties back to a previous episode of ours, kind of. And I'm going to need your help in naming a certain device.
Okay.
So, Christopher DeMargy, we'll go with it, was a French oil executive who was killed when his corporate jet collided during takeoff with the airport snowplow that was being driven by a drunk driver in Moscow.
Oh, interesting.
So please name that snowplow.
All I could think of is the Vodka Express
Oh, that's not bad.
from Moscow with love.
Moscow. It was just a random one. I was like, oh, snowplow driven by a drunk driver in Moscow. Okay, I will invest a little bit of time in reading this.
Okay. Regale us all with it.
That was it. That was all.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing some of these are super brief, but I love. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to look for one that was really recent, which this is just showing how prepared we are to do things on the fly. Okay. Oh God. All right. Adam Johnson died in October of 2023. 29-year-old.
Really recent.
Yeah. 29-year-old member of the Nottingham Panthers professional ice hockey team in England died after his neck was cut by a skate during a game between the Panthers and the Sheffield Steelers.
Yeah. So, yeah,
that's like one of my worst fears in why I don't go ice skating. Like,
I remember the Buffalo Sabres goalie. Buffalo Sabres. Sorry, I said that with a V instead of a B. He had his neck cut when a skate hit him, and literally he had to hold his neck together while he skated off the ice while they sent him to the hospital to get it repaired. That's always been a big fear. That happens more often than anybody wants to admit. I played hockey for a long time, and I saw more people carried off the ice than I want to remember.
Yeah. I that's like, I just read that. I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I have a cousin, Johnny, that I haven't seen him in decades, but he went into the boards head first. Well, that was the story I was told, and cracked his neck, and he never walked straight again. Yeah. So I don't think that's as bad as the next two that I'm going to talk about, though, because these are actually a little bit funny and a little bit weird.
Is this more Darwin?
No, this is actually back to inventors killed by their own inventions.
Oh, okay.
So there was a guy by the name of Thomas Migley Jr., and he contracted polio. And so he was severely disabled by the polio. And so he devised an elaborate system of ropes and pulleys to help others lift him from the bed. And that one time that he happened to get entangled in the ropes, he died of strangulation. Yes. Oh. But interestingly enough, he is the inventor of chlorofluorocarbons. CFCs.
Oh, I was like, what is that? Sorry.
Yep. He invented, beyond inventing the accidental suicide machine that was the ropes and pulley system, he invented two chemicals that are incredibly bad for the environment, because he also invented the additive they put in gasoline to add lead to it.
Oh, is that where we get the term "take the lead out"?
Yes, I believe it is.
Oh, interesting.
So, and then there's Henry Thule, who died in 1900. He invented a very high-speed steam locomotive. And there's stories that say that one of two things happened on one of his test runs of his locomotive. Either he was flung out of the engine and hit a telegraph pole at full speed and died instantly, or was leaning out the side of the locomotive and hit his head on a piece of a bridge that was sticking out a little bit too far and was decapitated.
All of that's terrible.
Yes, there's none of that is a good way to die.
Oh,
Because
I
could you
found
imagine you go flying out of a train? And we've all had this thought. If I go flying out of a train, I'll tuck and roll and I'll manage it. And he's thinking, I'm going to tuck and roll. I'm going to tuck and roll. And the telegraph pole hits him at that exact second.
well, that's like, I mean, you see on movies like people like leaning their head out the train or whatever, and it's like the male arm or something like that decapitates them, and you're like, what the fuck?
What movies are you watching?
A lot of really weird ones.
Apparently.
A lot of Korean stuff. Um, so I found one for Luis Jimenez. In the mid 1990s, the city of Denver commissioned a statue from artist Luis Jimenez. The Denver International Airport was in the process of being completed, and the city wanted a work of art to stand outside where travelers could see as they approach. Um, this is, I don't know, have you been to the Denver airport?
Yes.
Okay, so they have that big, massive blue horse that's reared up on its hind legs
Yep.
that has like the glowing red eyes. But it's a 9,000 pound statue. I didn't know it was that heavy.
Wow.
Um, Standing 32 feet tall outside of the airport's entrance today. And it's been there since I think 2008. But anyway, after years of work as the statue was nearing completion, a piece of the statue fell and struck Jimenez. The statue severed an artery in the artist's leg that ultimately claimed his life. He was 65 years old. But they completed it. Close friends and other artists finished the work after his death. But
That reminds me, if you've ever watched the movie A Million Ways to Die in the West, I highly recommend it. It's a really good movie. But one of the things that happens in it is the giant block of ice that they have come in. In the Old West, they'd bring in giant blocks of ice from the North because there's no ice in Arizona and those sorts of places. Um, and it breaks free of its mooring and crushes a guy. And they're in church later singing a prayer for him, saying how much they'll enjoy the cool drinks that they'll get from his sacrifice. And all the guy says is they're still going to use the ice.
wait, is it I've never seen it. Is it a comedy?
It is a comedy.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So what's a Family Guy? Seth, what's his name?
Seth MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane. Yeah, he's the lead guy in it. And I don't like an awful lot of stuff that Seth MacFarlane does. Like Ted 1 was good. Ted 2 was just brutal. But I love A Million Ways to Die in the West. It's
They made a TED
self-deprecating.
too?
Yeah, they made a Ted. Dude, they made a Ted TV show.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if Seth MacFarlane's. Oh, yeah, he must do the voice of the thing, of the teddy bear. But yeah, they made a TV show out of it.
I
Because,
must be
if
like
it
sleeping under a
sucks that
rock.
bad, you have to make a TV show out of it. It's just more proof that they're out of ideas for TV shows.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the first TED was okay. I didn't think
I
it was
liked the
remarkable.
first TED. It was a good idea. The second TED was just that they realized, hey, the first TED went so well, let's try to outdo ourselves, and just took the biggest shit on film that was possible.
So let's just milk this for all it's worth.
It's Jackass 4.5. Yes.
I did see Jackass 4.5 on something, but what's the 0.5?
That's when they're doing a partial one after a major one. There was Jackass 2.5. They did 3. They did 4. They did 4.5. All of those guys have hurt themselves so badly. They should be Darwin Award winners.
But they didn't die.
Not Chris
Oh,
Dunn. That guy did die.
yeah. I just thought about that as I said it. I was like,
Yeah. And he was pretty stupid the way that he died, too.
Oh, his name was Ryan Dunn. I remember
Ryan
that.
Dunn. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. He was the one that put the toy car in his butt.
Yes. Thanks
That's
for reminding me of that.
I just remember the doctor saying, "You have a toy car in your butt."
Yeah. So there's also several stories about people that created different types of apparatus that involve gears and rotors and that sort of stuff that became entangled in them and shredded by their own inventions. I'll just leave it to your imagination what that looks like as you're slowly dragged into something that is not meant for your body to be there.
No thanks. I mean, oh God, could you imagine? You're just sucked in. I mean, like the other thing too, and this doesn't necessarily inventors, but I bet there's even like the old time clock workers that got caught in a gear or something like that. I mean, like, oh my God, what a terrible way to go.
So there's one more that I think we're gonna close out for today. Um, Horace Lawson Hunley. This is a great one.
Oh,
Um,
I know
yeah,
this one.
you know about the USS Hunley
It
or
was
the
like
HL Hunley? Sorry.
it was like mid to late 1800s or something like that.
It was 1863. So
Okay.
he built the first naval warfare submarine. And so he had some people test it, and those people died in it. So he went in on it after he thought he fixed it with a couple other people, and it sank and he died. And so they brought it back up and put another crew in it. And that crew
Sure.
actually sunk the USS Housatonic, sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
he's like,
this is during the Civil War. And that ship became the first underwater submarine naval sinking. It was able to sink a ship, but the crew that was in it sunk because it was meant when you hit, you were probably going to die anyways. If you didn't go down with the ship you hit, you were going to flounder until to try to pull yourself back out. You were going to die anyways. 3 sets of crews died in that submarine.
oh my, yeah, it says, during which the ship and its 8 crew members failed to resurface. Yeah.
Yep. So,
Wow.
but what they thought is, Hunley thought, oh, I'm going to go in this and it'll just be fine. You know, who cares if another crew died in it? He dies and they think, oh, the inventor of this thing couldn't even survive it. Yeah, let's try it one more time.
But like, I'm looking at photos of it, like when they pull, it's a tiny vessel.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
could you
And
imagine being in that?
yeah, and realize, if I remember correctly, I haven't seen the vessel itself. I don't have the pictures in front, but if what I remember is true, it was powered by somebody basically sitting on the equivalent of a bicycle. That was
Yeah.
its power system.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very rudimentary, but I guess, well, I couldn't say effective if it killed everyone.
Well, it they traded off sinking a ship for losing 3 submarine crews, which, if you were willing to get into what was essentially a giant tube and go underwater to try to sink other ships, you didn't have long to live anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. But God damn,
And you'd
that's,
think, 200 years later that we'd be smarter than that, yet those Ocean Gate people are chum.
I just, yeah, that one I just don't get, man. Man.
Yeah. Well, so he was never certified to let that thing go down deep. Yeah, Ocean Gate, if you remember, is that submarine that crushed itself late last year. It's actually on this list somewhere. That the guy that invented it was crushed by it. But carbon fiber can handle torsion stress really well.
Yeah.
Okay, it's designed for that, but it does not handle compression stress all that well. And basically, what they went down into, and this was like the 6th time it got down to any significant depth, that was always going to be a coffin, because carbon fiber, when it goes under a compressive stress, quickly forms cracks, and those cracks can never be sealed. There's nothing you can
No,
do.
you can't go
It's
back to that.
And when it shatters, if you look at when a carbon fiber hooded car hits something, it doesn't buckle, it shatters into billions of pieces. Carbon
It's
fiber does not handle compressive strength whatsoever. It's
like
meant
a
not to twist. You can't twist carbon fiber very easily, but you can compress it in ways that it unloads that with explosive force.
yeah, so it's almost like breaking a car window or something like that.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
question is, how long did they actually have before they realized that this was going to fail? Because generally, failures in vehicles that are underwater at those kinds of depths are normally almost an instantaneous death. It's not like something just starts leaking, it implodes.
I would think that there was probably a little bit of hope based on the oxygen for a bit with them. If I was to be in the vessel, not necessarily immediately thinking about the depth and the crinkle factor. Um,
But
but
at
I'm
4,000 feet below sea level, which is where they believe that this happened, I believe it was 4,000, might be
yeah,
3,000.
no, I think you're right.
Uh, there are about 6,000 atmospheric pressures. So, in order for the oxygen in that thing to hold it out against the pressure inside, it would have had to have been pressured to 6,000 times the normal atmosphere.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been able to survive inside of it.
Wow. Well, they didn't.
Yeah. So,
R.I.P.
anyways, that was fun talking about a whole bunch of ways that people died horribly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, somehow I think this kind of topic could resurface in a different light or darkness. I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly, I think our audience, which again, we apologize for the gap in between episodes. We had the clusterfuck known as uh,
We
Ryan's
call it,
brother,
we'll just call it Trevor Gate.
Trevor Gate. Yes, it's more like he had a Trevor gasm or something like that. Hi, Trevor. He's an avid listener, by the way.
Oh
But
my God.
I think we
Never
and
say
then
that again.
Ryan is not saying it, but he's been fairly sick the last week too. So
Yeah.
this is the first time that he felt up to actually taping. So realize we don't normally go more than 2 weeks without an episode. This was situational. It's going to happen because this is not our day job, and other stuff happened, and
No,
Trevor and all that sort of stuff. But
it's life, but it's we're back.
But for the people that have been sticking with us and for our growing audience, please send us articles or anything on stupid ways to die. It could be of their own invention. It could be of their own stupidity. Could be of anything. We'll come up with another episode where we just read that kind of stuff off. And the more detailed the link you can give us, the better the story that we can tell about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But and find all of our social medias where we're available to be streamed on repressedhumorissues.com. And as a reminder, Apple, Spotify, those are the places to find us, and anywhere else you find your streaming. But yeah, so thanks for putting up with my bullshit and letting me be me. It feels good.
See you, gay man.
Thanks. Jesus. Until next time, see you, gay man. Oh, you're a whore.
Oh, come on. We couldn't just, there was no way I could just do a normal get out of that episode. It had to be something like that.
Fair. That's fair. I mean, I'll start talking about farting confetti next time or something like that.
Oh, so it's going to get better, is what you're saying.
if that's what you want to call it. I don't know if that's better.
Yeah.